cat wants to jump all over everything I'm touching and using. You naughty puss. You're about to learn. Oh, you're laying in the sun, mate. You're about to learn. Well, maybe, hopefully. You're about to receive about the 10,000th message. At least on my channel. On why you cannot free yourself. Because you're not trying to free yourself. You are expecting somebody else to set you free. Why would they set you free if they benefit from you not being free? If that means that they themselves are going to have to roll up their sleeves and be equal to us, it's not going to happen, so be silly.
I understand that's not a judgment about you. We're not. I'm saying that we learn to anticipate the way you're going to act. That's not the same thing as saying that we're making a moral determination about the goodness of your soul or otherwise. Like I say, your soul is entirely your business. That's entirely your concern. And it's not our job to cleanse your soul if it needs cleansing, except insofar as the enforcement of right actions in the society can be a way to change the orientation of your soul. But you in the West, like I said, you come out of a tradition that completely separates the nature of your deeds from the nature of your soul, separates character from actions. And that's why you have no kind of system in the West that can actually apply morality in any sort of coherent, consistent, practical way. Doesn't exist. I mean, look at racism in America. Just look at racism in America, in the West. For the longest time in America, all of my life, and certainly before my life,
Not just racism, class. Hierarchical, socio-economic demographics. The haves and the have-nots. And how the have-nots are kept in a place. Just waiting for it to get to where I wanted it to be at. The socio-demographics of the hierarchy of order and control. The haves and the have-nots. Now the control mechanisms, government, which, if you look at what's going on over the port of Darwin, which is owned by China on a 99-year lease, which has all been paid for in advance, proves that the territory is not a part of Australia. So those who are in control in the territories they're not about to hand it over. They keep the lowest in the socio-demographic hierarchy of order. Down where we are, just like George Carlin says, to keep the middle class going to them jobs, keep paying them taxes, which keeps the upper class, those who call the shots, exactly where they want to be, living the dream, while we all suffer and pay for it. And you think you're going to get it back by asking? You think you can beat it? You think you can protest your way out of this? Comply your way out of it? Comply just a little bit harder. Vote just a little bit harder. Press the pencil down a bit harder till the lead breaks. What are you, 5?
You keep talking about the need that we need to end racism. Well, that's like saying that you need to end greed, you need to end stupidity, you need to end evil and obnoxiousness, try to end arrogance. No, these are all ways of just misdirecting the victims of racism from their own practical liberation. You understand me? Telling you that your only hope is for your oppressors to become enlightened, for your oppressors to become fair-minded and benevolent people. That just keeps you neutralized. It keeps you neutralized from ever taking any real-world steps to try to protect yourself, to try to fortify yourself, and to try to liberate yourself. You see what I mean? In Islam, we understand, like I said, we understand morality in a very practical way. Real-world actions, real-world measures. We don't believe in the idea of sitting around and waiting for racism to end. That's not moral. That's not moral. Racism exists here and now. It affects people. And the only truly moral thing is to take action to neutralize it, rather than allow yourself to be neutralized by it while you're waiting around for racists to reform. Now, I'm not talking about taking action against racists. I'm talking about taking action for yourselves to address the actual destructive dynamics and the actual conditions that racism creates in your own life. In other words, I'm talking about saving yourself instead of trying to save a racist from their own racism. It's no one's job to try to rehabilitate their own oppressor. So just like in the case of child protection, genuine protection of children is supposed to manifest in concrete actions, concrete measures that provide real-world safeguards, real-world protections for children, not just speeches and declarations about how much children should be protected. The answer isn't we need to rehabilitate child predators so that finally our children can be safe. You don't say, what is it? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. No, I'm talking about trying to face the reality of what the conditions really are in the real world, and then trying to implement measures, trying to implement steps to try to correct those conditions for the people who are the victims of those conditions. Because look, the reality is this. If you...
Pause. Informative commercial time. Yes, I know, it's all in subtext. You got to read it. Learn how honeypotting works. Hierarchical blackmail.
You are African American, or any member of the global majority living in the United States, in my opinion, you need to completely abandon the idea that you're going to end racism in America. Not because racism is acceptable, it's contemptible, it's evil, it's a civilizational disease. But you need to abandon the idea because it is baked into the operating system of America. And you are wasting precious time, energy, and resources fighting in a battle that was designed to be unwinnable. I mean, think about it this way. If you lived in a region where tornadoes were a regular occurrence, would you spend your life trying to campaign to end tornadoes? Would you organize protests demanding that the atmosphere stop producing severe weather conditions? Right? Would you dedicate your existence to trying to convince the sky that tornadoes are morally wrong? No. You would accept that tornadoes are just a part of the climate of that region. And you'd build storm shelters. You'd develop early warning systems. You would construct your homes with reinforced foundations. You would create evacuation plans. You would prepare. That's practical. I know you'll be mad about that comparison because you'll say that racism isn't a natural disaster, right? Brother Shaheed, racism is not a force of nature. I agree with you. But when a tornado comes and rips apart your house and your property and your family and your life, you're not worried about what caused it. You're worried about the fact of its impact. And you should do the same thing with regards to racism when it rips apart your life the same way. Because white supremacy in America is a permanent feature. It's a permanent feature of America. It's a permanent feature of Western society, of so-called Western civilization. It's as much a feature of that as just as much as tornadoes in Illinois, or blizzards in North Dakota, or earthquakes in California.
And what are you meant to do with that? Pre-apologetics? White guilt, white shame for having white privilege? No. Why should you be sorry for something that you actually yourself personally have not done? Now that stance is considered racist. Just ask Councillor Aiken. Like I say, Trent and I, there's a lot we don't agree on. Politically, commonsensically, we align pretty damn well. Roll your sleeves up, get some calluses on your hand, get the job done. Stop being fucking silly. Be responsible for your own feelings. A man should be a man and a woman should be a woman, and you should know your place, and then everything just works in harmony. A man doesn't belong in a woman's place any more than a woman belongs in a man's place. And that's considered sexist and misogynist. No. Chauvinistic. No. It's called reality. Which is why I think it should be the other way around. Absolutely every single member of council should be stood down and taken to court. Charged accordingly. Without ad hominem bullshit. Somebody like Trent should be general manager. Who should be mayor? Someone who's not scared to go down and can see through the bullshit of politics. Someone who doesn't even really want the job, but can see through it all and is not going to jump into decisions and conclusions without coming back and talking to the people first and getting everybody's point of view. Having town hall meetings, proper public meetings, so we can have proper democracy where the people vote. The people of the town vote on what happens to the town. Not the council puts forward covert and misinformative and slide duck policy and then hooks it off as legislature classifying it as law when it's not law at all. Legislature completely destroys law. There's nothing lawful about legislature. Legislature is for a legal system. Law is based in morality, ethics, conscience. I'm going to end that there. Because everything has a beginning, a middle and an end. And they have been known in the past to go past the point of the end, and then you lose the point of of the message that you're trying to portray. You can only have one end, not two ends, unless you're on two separate paths.